Hello everyone. So this is the third lecture in the series of determination of income and employment, and in this particular video we are going to read about the investment multiplier. So investment multiplier is one of the key contribution of Professor Keynes, and Keynes believed that an initial increment in investment increases the final income by many times, which means that when investment is increased by a certain amount, the change in income is not restricted to the extent of initial investment, but it changes several times the change in investment. Now we will see how this multiplier would work. Now before jumping into the workings of investment multiplier, let's just see what is investment and what multiplier means. Investment is the addition to the stock of physical capital and changes in inventory of producer. Now what is multiplier? Multiplier is represented by a constant called K. Multiplier express the relationship between initial increment, that is how much you are increasing investment initially, and the resulting increase in aggregate income. So the multiplier explains how many times the income increases as a result of increase in investment. Multiplier is defined as the rate of change in national income due to change in investment. Suppose the additional investment in economy is 4,000 crores and this will generate additional income of 16,000 crores. So the value of K is 4. This means that income will increase 4 times with a single increase in investment. Before examining the workings of the multiplier, let's consider the maximum and minimum values of it. And to do so, it is essential to understand the relationship between multiplier and marginal propensity to consume. So there exists a relationship between MPC and value of multiplier, that is K. And higher the MPC, more will be the value of multiplier. So let's just see how. As we know that income earned rather be consumed or saved, which means the change in income is also equal to change in consumption, change in investment. If I am dividing both sides by change in Y, this side would be 1, this side is change in C upon change in Y plus change in I upon change in Y. And what is K? K is change in Y upon change in I. What is MPC? MPC is change in C upon change in Y, which means this is 1 minus MPC and this is 1 upon K. So from here we derive that K is nothing but 1 upon 1 minus MPC. Now we know that value of that MPC and MPS is equals to 1. So 1 minus MPC is nothing but MPS. So K is also equal to 1 upon MPS. Alright. So what MPC explain? It explains what proportion of change in income is spent on consumption. When K is equal to 1 upon 1 minus MPC, it means the value of multiplier depends on MPC. But what the statement says, it says that higher the MPC, more will be the value of multiplier. So if my MPC is 0, K would be 1 upon 1 minus 0 and value of multiplier would be 1. But when my MPC is 0.5, it means K is 1 upon 0.5 equals to 2. So we can see that as we are increasing the value of MPC, the value of multiplier is also increasing. So the heading of the slide is MPC and MPS relationship with K. We know that this is MPC. We know that as the value of MPC would increase, the value of multiplier would also increase. So there is a direct relationship between them, and there is an indirect relationship between value of multiplier and MPS. How? So do the numerical and you are able to find the answer. So this is on you. Now what is the maximum value of multiplier? if MPC is 1, MPC cannot be greater than 1. I hope you know this. If you don't know, then you go back and read the concepts. I will get infinity. If my MPC is 1, the value of multiplier would be infinity. And what does this represent? So this represents that economy decides to consume whole of its additional income and not even a bit of national income is saved. And what is the minimum value of multiplier? So when MPC is 0, the value of multiplier equal 1. This indicates that the economy decides to save the whole of its additional income and nothing is spent on consumption expenditure. Now there will be no increase in income as there is no consumption. Why I set this particular line, you will get to know in few minutes. So the maximum value of multiplier is infinity and minimum value of multiplier is 1. Now let's just move towards the workings of multiplier. So the working of multiplier is based on one fact, which is one person's expenditure. If one person is spending, they are purchasing something, then it is another person's income, which is very true. And the second thing is when an additional investment is made, then income increases. So the increase in income is many times. So let's take an example. Suppose additional investment of 100 crores is made. This will generate additional income of 100 crores. So the change in income is 100. Now let's say my MPC is 0.9, which means I am consuming 90% of my additional income. The recipients of this additional income will spend 90% of rupees 100 crores, that is 90 crores on consumption, and the remaining amount will be saved, which is 10 crores, which means that initially investment is 100, your income is also 100 and you consume 90 crores. One person's expenditure is another person's income. So this 90 crores would be income in the next round. So this will increase the income by 90 crores in the next round. In next round also, the 90% of additional income, that is 81 crores, will be spent on consumption and the remaining amount will be saved. So this multiplier will continue and the consumption expenditure in every round will be 0.9 times of additional income received from the previous round. We will also look at one example on which the calculations is done using Excel. So this is, I know that this process will continue. It seems like a never ending process, right? But how do I get to know what would be total increase in income? So let's try to find out. As I know that my value of multiplier is this, these are equal, so I can write this thing. I have to find out the total change in income, and I know my investment is of 100 crores. 1 minus MPC, MPC is 0.9, 1 minus MPC is 0.1, which means the total increase in income would be of 1000. Now I know the total of this column would be 1000 and consumption will be 0.9 times of this change in income, which means it will be 900 crores. And if my MPC is 0.9, my MPS would be 0.1, then it means my savings would be of 100 crores. So this is how you can find the total change in income, the total change in consumption, etc. There is one more method to find out. So let's just go through that also. So in my initial round, my income is 100 and consumption is 100 into 0.9, that is 90% of the income of the additional income is my consumption, so it becomes 90. In my next round, my income is 90 and how I get this 90? It is 100 into 0.9. The consumption in the next round would be 90 into 0.9. Again, the how I come up with this 90, it is 100 into 0.9. Into 0.9 would be my next round's consumption, which means this process will continue. This is a geometric progression where my A is 100, my R is 0.9, and if I have to find out sum to infinity, it would be A upon 1 minus R, where R should be less than 1. My A is 100. 1 minus R is what? 0.1. So again, I am getting 1000 crores as my total change in income. We will also look at one example on which the calculations is done using Excel. These all variables depicts the change. So this is change in investment, this is change in income, this is change in consumption, this is change in saving. So you can see that initial round your income is 100, that is your change in income is 100. Here your MPC is 0.8, so your consumption is 80 and savings is 20. In the next round this becomes your income. So this process will continue till here. The important point to note here is this, that in this particular calculation I have restricted the value of decimal to two places. But if I have relaxed the value of decimals, then it would go until, you can say infinity. But the total change in income which you will get is here approximating what we have find out through the formula. So this working of multiplier is based on the Excel calculations, and you can see that how long the calculation process continues and still doesn't end, because here you get something 0.01, but because I have restricted the value of decimal to the two places, so here we are getting the approx values. So you just need to know the workings of it, don't need to go till so much of calculations, just use the formulas and find the final values. Very important thing which I am going to tell is, when I am moving from here, like horizontal arrow, when I am moving from this to this, so my horizontal arrow indicate increase in consumption due to increase in income. So we have 80 crores for consumption as the income has increased, right? And when I am going downward, so my downward sloping arrow indicates increase in income due to increase in consumption, because 80 crores is spent on consumption and it is the other person's income. So 80 crore increase in income is due to the increase in consumption.